Welcome and thank you for joining us on Birth Mother Matters in Adoption with Kelly Rourke-Scary and me, Ron Rains, where we delve into the issues of adoption from every angle of the adoption triad.
Do what's best for your kid and for yourself, because if you can't take care of yourself, you're definitely not going to be able to take care of that kid, and that's not fair.
And I know that my daughter will be well taken care of with them.
Don't have an abortion. Give this child a chance.
All I could think about was needing to save my son.
My name is Kelly Rourke-Scary. I am the Executive Director, President, and co-founder of Building Arizona Families Adoption Agency, the Donna K Foundation, and creator of the You Before Me campaign. I have a bachelor's degree in family studies and human development and a master's degree in education with an emphasis in school counseling. I was adopted at the age of 3 days, born to a teen birth mother, raised in a closed adoption, and reunited with my birth mother in 2007. I have worked in the adoption field for over 15 years.
And I'm Ron Rains. I've worked in radio since 1999. I was the co-host of 2 successful morning shows in Prescott, Arizona. Now I work for my wife, who's an adoption attorney, and I'm able to combine these 2 great passions and share them on this podcast. The Arizona Republic reported Arizona sheriff who vowed not to enforce stay-at-home orders test positive for COVID-19 ahead of a Trump meeting. On June 20th, Newsweek reported Arizona ICUs have less than 300 beds available as coronavirus cases rise. And USA Today reported that Major League Baseball is closing all spring training facilities in Arizona and Florida to curb coronavirus spread. As of the original airing of this episode, on June 23, 2020, there are 58,179 positive cases of COVID-19 in Arizona. Today marked a new single-day high of 3,591 new coronavirus cases in the state. 42 additional deaths have also been reported, bringing Arizona's death toll to 1,384 from the virus thus far.
All right. So let's go ahead and talk about updates on COVID-19 and adoption in Arizona. And we're going to talk about this solely from a perspective of being in Arizona, what's happening in Arizona, and what we are doing as Building Arizona Families Adoption Agency to take precautionary measures to keep everybody as safe as possible. So the laws in Arizona have now changed, and many cities, I think if not all, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ron, are requiring that you wear a mask in public.
I had heard that originally also, that all the cities in Arizona, it was a statewide thing, but I looked into it some more, and it looks like different cities are handling it as they see fit. I don't believe there's anything, for instance, in Prescott Valley to where you have to wear a mask in public. Because I was curious. I was like, well, they said statewide, but now it looks like the mayors of the individual cities are right. Kind of saying, okay, this is our...
Governor Ducey has given the authority to mayors to decide. And I know where we live, it is mandatory. And I, for one, am thrilled. I think that this is a great precautionary measure. As an agency, we are going to be giving out masks to our birth mothers. So when they do go out into the community, they are protected even more. We've always offered masks, but now we're going to make sure that they have a good supply of them. So I think that that's important. One thing, though, that I have to say is, kind of a downside. I'm a huge mask proponent. Right now, it's 109 degrees down here in Phoenix. Wearing a mask is hot. Being pregnant, wearing a mask, and being in Arizona is even hotter. Mm-hmm. And I had 3 out of 4 of my children. I was pregnant throughout the summer. I had 1 in June, 1 in July, and 1 in September. And it's just miserable being in Arizona, being in the summer, being very pregnant. So that being said, I cannot even fathom wearing a mask on top of that because it's just that suffocating heat. So hopefully they can just stay inside and, have their feet up with a fan on them because that's miserable. I mean, I can't even comprehend, but I think that safety is obviously more important than comfort. Mm-hmm. And so I'm grateful that masks have been mandatory. What's your thought on it? Are you a mask proponent?
Yes, I absolutely am. Anytime we go out now, we did go to lunch yesterday and we wore masks going into the restaurant, but how do you have lunch with a mask on, so we did have to take them off to eat. But
not really. I mean, you could have taken a bite, put the mask, back on, and then taken it back off.
It's a whole process, takes lunch 3 times as long, but, the tables are distanced enough, and they're saying that they're not as concerned about surfaces as they were in the beginning. So, like, when somebody touches something, I mean, they're still wiping everything down with bleach. As a matter of fact, that was one of our niece's first comments when we went in there. She sat down and picked up the menu and said, "It smells like bleach." And I'm like, well, that's probably a good thing, just to be safe. But, I am a proponent of the masks.
All right. So at Building Arizona Families, we are still continuing to proceed as normal in terms of working with moms coming into our agency, and we are working with families as they're coming into the agency too. We are not restricting the adoption process on any level. We are changing how we case manage our birth mothers and how we case manage our families to make sure that, again, we are taking all safety and health precautions. We have listed all of these precautions on Facebook and our websites. And so, in short, like I said, we are all wearing masks. We are social distancing. Our offices are still sanitized daily. We have a professional cleaning crew that comes in every day and sanitizes everything, trying to keep, like I said, everything as clean as possible. We have posted on our windows, if they're feeling sick, whatever, not to enter into the office. We're also taking temperatures when people come into the office as well, for staff and for clients. If they have a temperature, they cannot enter the building. What we are seeing in the hospital setting is the hospitals are letting us, they're a little bit looser in the sense that they are letting us come in and do paperwork. They're not as restrictive as they were, which I think is incredible, because right now they're saying that in Arizona, the ICU capacity is at 85%. Mm-hmm. So that being said, the fact that we're able to get into the maternity unit at all is, I think, incredible. And I feel really grateful that we are able to do that.
Right. And thus far, we haven't seen anything. Now, has anybody from the company contracted COVID-19 or no, nobody yet? Okay. Nobody. And they're being tested to some degree. And like you said, temperatures are being taken when they come in the building, as well as the birth mothers. Okay.
Right. The ones that have been tested are the ones, obviously, that there was a concern about. But no, nobody has tested positive.
And you've been tested yourself, right?
I have been, yes. So the 6 feet of separation will be maintained by all the visitors. We're also encouraging everybody to continually wash their hands. Again, if they've been exposed or have any symptoms, please do not come into the office. Please stay safe. This is limiting how many people can go into labor and delivery with the birth mother. Right now, it's usually one person. The adoptive family, depending on which hospital the baby's delivered at, may or may not get to go in and be with the baby during the time the baby is in the hospital. It is a little bit better than it was a few months ago in terms of the restrictions. Each hospital has their own restrictions, but it overall seems to be a little bit better for the families. Mm-hmm. I know that Arizona has now been labeled as a state that some other states are saying that if you come back from Arizona, you have to quarantine for so many days. That to me was, a little surprising that now we are, in the top 3, I guess, in a nation.
We're one of the hot spots. I think it was Arizona, Florida, and Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And
sounds correct. And unfortunately, our numbers are they're just not good. That being said, we are at our agency, and I can only speak for us, just doing everything we can to proceed as normal. We have birth mothers calling in frequently, wanting to come into the program, which we are still, like I said before, still able to do, because so many things are still shut down, and there's so many limitations and restrictions on hours and so forth that we are not restricting any of that. So again, we are open, we are working with families. And that was another question that I've been getting is, are people still coming into the program wanting to adopt? And the answer is yes, they are. We are not having a shortage of families whatsoever. We are having families come into the program ready, willing, and wanting to adopt. And some of the questions that I had been asked was, well, these are such uncertain times. But I think for those people that are asking that question, when you're trying to build a family, it's hard for there ever to be a perfect time. What's meant to be will be. And whether it's COVID or some other, crisis in your life, or hopefully not another pandemic, a wartime, if you want to be a parent and you want to adopt a child, COVID or no COVID pandemic, people are still going to proceed to build a family. I think that's really important to remember. I mean, I was adopted. I was born on Super Bowl Sunday, and that was a huge deal for a lot of people. And, I was still adopted.
Well, when I was born in December of 1969. So I've often thought about this with my mom, for instance. You know how people always say, oh, why would you want to bring a child into the world like this? And, because of whatever it is at any given time. And I thought about this quite a bit because in the summer of 1969, when my mother would have been pregnant, or was pregnant, I should say, was when the Manson family stuff was all happening. And I mean, it must have seemed like this is the end times. And same thing, why would you want to bring a child into that? But these things do pass and there are cycles. And so I think people realize, hey, my family is important and this will pass as well. So
what did they expect your mother to do? Just say, okay, well, I'm not going to have the baby for another couple months until things settle down?
Right. Well, no, I don't know if anybody ever asked her that, but I try and get into my mom's mindset at that time. She must have panicked to some degree, thinking, what is the world coming to? And I'm pregnant with a child. So yeah, I've never talked to her about this, but I've often thought about that.
I can totally understand that. I was supposed to be induced with my now 17-year-old on September 11th. And she was born in 2002. There was no way that I was going to have a child with that birthday.
Right.
There was no way. So I flat out refused, told the doctor, no, this isn't a medical emergency. We can wait 2 more days.
Right.
I do not want to chance that. And he thought that was the funniest thing because I flat out refused. I wouldn't have wanted that birthday, especially in that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I can see that because, I mean, I'm sure people like December 7th for many years, people were like, oh, that is not the date I want to have my child and have their birthday be remembered as December 7th, That was the day that Pearl Harbor was attacked. So anyway, that was a tangent. Sorry, I didn't mean to go there, but what you were saying made me think of that, and adopting families are no different than somebody who's having a child to raise on their own or whatever. You're trying to build a family and the circumstances in the world will change. They'll get better. They'll get worse,
And there's good times to have your baby and maybe not so ideal times. Again, like I said, I was born on Super Bowl Sunday. So my adoptive parents are huge football fanatics. And so I'm sure that was a little bit like, of course she was born on this day. It wasn't.
Yeah, you look at the good side.
Yeah, I wasn't given a football name, so I guess that's a good thing. So it was, yes. But again, I think that when you want to build a family and you're ready to do so, it is important not to let other factors influence your family and your life. And again, with your mom having you during that time, I mean, at that point, she was pregnant.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you were a surprise or planned or what.
A little bit of a surprise.
Okay. So, I mean, she can't, it wasn't like she could sit there, with her legs crossed for the next 3 months and just say she'd wait it out.
Yeah, I'm holding this in to see what happens.
Yeah. Well, everybody's a little bit.
6 years later. You know what? I think it's about time. We'll let him out now.
Yeah. So I think, the most important thing to remember, especially from this podcast, is that, yes, in Arizona, we are experiencing the pandemic. We're at an all-time high. We are now a hot spot. Mm-hmm. It is unprecedented for us. We're scared. We are all doing the best we can do. We're all taking every precaution that can be taken. And collectively as a society especially in the adoption world. I think it's important that we stand together and get through this season. And like you said earlier, this too shall pass.
Thank you for joining us on Birth Mother Matters in Adoption. If you're listening and you're dealing with an unplanned pregnancy and want more information about adoption, Building Arizona Families is a local Arizona adoption agency and available 24/7 by phone or text at 623-695-4112. That's 623-695-4112. We can make an immediate appointment with you to get started on creating an Arizona adoption plan or just get you more information. You can also find out more information about Building Arizona Families on their website at azpregnancyhelp.com. Thanks also go out to Grapes for allowing us to use their song I Don't Know as our theme song. Birth Mother Matters in Adoption was written and produced by Kelly Rourke Scary and edited by me. Please rate and review this podcast wherever you're listening to us. We'd really appreciate it. We also now have a website at birthmothermatterspodcast.com. Tune in next time on Birth Mother Matters in Adoption. For Kelly Rourke Scary, I'm Ron Rains.